Login accepted.
Oh, Wi-Fi hacking or wireless warfare in this case. So this isn't on slide, but Cybertruck is coming up on the 22nd. I believe the sign up date has passed, but you guys are free to come by and watch if you haven't signed up for the team. Tech Symposium, that's going to be on April 12th. You can RSVP for a free pass to it by April 5th. It's a great place to get some connection with alumni and other industry professionals. A lot of good talks about niche subjects as well. So please join if you can. Keyboard application is going to end at 21st. Well, that's when you can apply. Application end on 21st. Definitely a good role to have, really good for your resume. Yeah, it's a really good place to get started if you can. Right now we're on wireless warfare or 318, and there's not going to be a workshop for this as usual. However, there's going to be a Friday radio hacking workshop. So who am I? I'm Ryan. I'm a second year CIS major. I'm currently a SWIN intern, previously on the NCAE team, and currently on the CPTC and DCDC team. So today we're going to go over Wi-Fi concepts, types of attacks, and a live demo at the end. Wi-Fi concepts. Wi-Fi is, or basically allows devices to access the internet and communicate wirelessly within a LAN through radio waves. Radio waves we can go more into on Friday, but essentially with Wi-Fi you're allowed to connect to other devices on the same network wirelessly. The most targeted protocol in Wi-Fi is the EAPOL, or Extensible Authentication Protocol over LAN. This is kind of like an internet protocol like TCP and HTTPS, where it's like it has a four-way handshake. The protocol is used after the authentication process. So after you put in the password for the Wi-Fi, this protocol happens afterwards. So the important definitions and concepts. A-nonce is the random number generated by the access point. S-nonce is the random number generated by the client. You can kind of think of these as the salt for the hash. I believe this went over on cryptography week. MSK, or master session key, is derived from the PSK authentication. So the MSK is derived from the password of the actual router. PMK, or pairwise master key, is generated from the MSK, and GMK is similar. However, it's a default key that's on every access point. Both of these are derived from the master key, which we will show visually in a bit. PTK, or pairwise transient key, is used to encrypt unicast traffic between the client and the access point. So let's say there's traffic between one client and the access point or router. They're going to use the PTK to encrypt the traffic that flows between them. GTK is the opposite, where it encrypts all broadcast and multicast traffic. If one client wants to send a broadcast signal to multiple other clients on the network, it would use GTK to encrypt the traffic. MIC, or message integrity check, is basically used to verify that everything or all the keys are passed correctly and everything is fine. So visually, you can kind of see how the MSK is the primary key that is being used. And then GMK and the PMK are derived from it. And then below that are the GTK and the PTK, which relies on the GMK and PMK respectively. So an example of the WPA2 EAPOL handshake is you first start off with the router, right? The router is going to have the PMK and the GMK by default. And the router sends the A-nonce key to the client, which is then used to create PTK using the client's S nodes, the A nodes, and each other's MAC address. After the PTK is created, the client delivers the S nodes to the access point. This way, both the client and the access point both have the same PTK, which will be used to encrypt traffic. The router then generates the GTK using this GMK, and it then sends it to the client, along with MIC, or message integrity check. Afterwards, both the client and the access point are going to have all the necessary keys, the GTK, the PTK, etc. Everything is needed everything's in order to generate each other's keys and encrypt traffic. That is when the client sends back the MIC to verify that it has everything it needs. That's the essential of EAPOL. So types of attacks. There are three main categories when attacking Wi-Fi: DDoS attacks, man-in-the-middle, and phishing attacks. So for DDoS attacks, you're going to be doing things like deauthentication attacks, where you essentially kick people off the Wi-Fi. Man-in-the-middle, where you have rogue access points, evil twin attacks, and password cracking. These can sometimes use a deauthentication attack to essentially put yourself in between the client and the router. We will get more into this in a bit. The difference between rogue access point and evil twin attack is that the rogue access point is typically installed on the network rather than standing in between the client and the router. The evil portal attack, it uses the evil twin attack from man-in-the-middle to essentially create a fake login portal so that people put in their password. We will also get more into this in a bit. So deauthentication and password cracking. With deauthentication, you can essentially send a deauthentication packet on behalf of another client. So right here, we have a client who is connecting to the access point, right, very normally. However, the attacker can specify the client's MAC address and send a deauthentication packet on behalf of the client. The access point doesn't filter what kind of MAC address or who is sending what kind of packet. The access point just says, okay, whatever. This is the MAC address, it's probably fine. This is insecure. I'm not entirely sure how you would defend against it, except maybe MAC address filtering.
What's MAC address?
The MAC address is the hardware address for each computer. Technically, it's like a unique address that each computer has. So if you're somewhat familiar with IP addresses are the unique identifier for each machine, network-wise. The MAC address is the unique address for the machine on the hardware side. Technically, you're not able to change it, but there are tools you could use to change it. Evil twin attack. So evil twin attack, you're going to have about two methods. One, for method one, what you're doing in this image is basically sending the authentication packets network-wide to the real access point. By sending the authentication packets to the access point, no one can actually connect to the Wi-Fi. So by human logic, if there's another access point that has a similar name and is connectable, people will connect to your access point. That is when you can sniff people's data and actually capture sensitive information, which could be passwords, credit card information, etc. That is also why you don't connect your free Wi-Fi, because inherently it's insecure. Method two takes advantage of the auto join function. So a lot of devices have the auto join function where if it recognizes a name, it's going to send a password to that access point because it has the same router name. You can kind of think of it as like Starbucks. If you ever connected automatically to a Starbucks Wi-Fi, that is because you have a saved password that is auto joining to the Starbucks access point name. You can just do that as like a phishing attempt to where people accidentally automatically join to you. So you can make an access point that has the SSID of Starbucks or whatever thing. For Evil Portal, once again, it takes advantage of the Evil Twin attack. But instead of capturing data, it's more so captures passwords and login credentials. So going back to the premise of the authentication, let's say you DOS a whole access point, right? Something that is vital to a company. People are going to try to log back into the access point because people want Wi-Fi, they want internet. So naturally, they're going to log in, but it's going to log into your access point, which you can kind of guess where this is going. If you log in to a portal that is owned by an attacker, the attacker can steal the password. And now we're just going to go over a live demo for actual DDoS attack and password cracking. So right here, I have a little router, personal router that is not connected to internet, so everything's legal. So for my little setup, I have this little miniature router that I own and this Alpha Wi-Fi adapter, like, I don't know, 13 bucks. So after connecting it to my virtual machine, if I do iwconfig, we see that we have a WLAN 0, which is our Wi-Fi adapter. So what we can do with this is use the AirCrack suite and put the interface into monitoring mode, because right now it's in managed. So right now, it should be enabled. If I do iwconfig again, you'll see that it's a monitor mode. So what we can do with this now is dump the Wi-Fi traffic, or at least see what kind of Wi-Fi is around us. So WLAN 0. So if we wait a bit, we will probably see the right Wi-Fi that we're targeting. Okay, there it goes. Williams hotspot, that's going to be our fake access point. So you can see here the BSSID, which is the access point's MAC address, and it's running on channel 10. It's not shown here, but usually it'll be displayed up here on this top portion. So if we do sudo arrow dump ng WLAN 0, BSSID, copy this, and then let's see, -C10 for channel. Now we just wait until it gets or detect any clients. So in the meantime, while it detects clients, we can set up the authentication command. So sudo air replay ng DOS 0. So DOS 0 is essentially going to say just keep the authentication package with no limits. A for the access point, and then C is going to be our target, but we don't have one yet. There it goes. This is going to be our targets right here. So right now I'm connected to the Wi-Fi on my phone. You guys probably best since you guys can't see my phone, but it's going to fail a couple times, but you keep on sending the same command, it should work eventually. Right now it's sending the authentication packet, and now my Wi-Fi is disconnected from my phone. So how can we abuse this further? This is a targeted or a DDoS attack. But what we can do to target it further is um, save the file or the network to a PCAP file. So we're just going to save it to Wi-Fi. If we do the same thing again, we should be able to capture the EAPOL handshake, which is what we're going to be using to crack the Wi-Fi password. Right now, my Wi-Fi just got authenticated. I'm just going to join back a couple times, or it's going to auto join back a couple times. Now, we should be able to crack the Wi-Fi password. And crack. Yeah, so sometimes you're not going to actually capture the Wi-Fi, but I mean, you just got to keep doing it again and again.
What you're doing again?
Oh, yeah. So with this command over here on this side, we are we're trying to capture the Wi-Fi handshake. So if you're familiar with Wireshark or similar tools, what we're doing here is kind of capturing the network connection between the client, which is my phone, and the access point, the router. On the other side, we're sending the authentication request to my phone. This way, we take advantage of the auto join feature where it tries to connect back to the router. Because my phone already has saved the Wi-Fi password for the router, it's going to keep sending the Wi-Fi password to keep trying to authenticate. Wi-Fi hacking is a bit finicky in how it works because not a very popular area of hacking, but essentially it's really easy to do everything. Just because we'll try connecting with my laptop. So surely this should be enough the authentication packets. And it's not. Anyways, usually if you capture the EAPL handshake, you would be able to crack it. It's not kind of hard to crack it because you have to rely on the word list, which is very limited in complexity. So you have a really complex password, you're most likely going to be safe from this attack. However, not a lot of people have secure passwords just because people don't like memorizing really secure passwords. The chances of people actually using a weak password are pretty likely. If you know your own Wi-Fi password, are you guys using secure Wi-Fi password? Like, is it actually like 10 digits, complex numbers, special characters? No, exactly. Well, Bill is. I think he's lying, but
You wanna try? Wanna come over?
okay. But yeah, it really comes down to like how complex your password is. It also comes down to the Wi-Fi security as well. This is WPA2, which is pretty one of the most common ones right now because it's pretty new. Yes, I'm trying to crack the router credentials right now, but unfortunately, it's not capturing the handshake, which is weird. If you were to try doing it automatically, you use Wi-Fi, which does everything for you. But I've had trouble with it before, so I don't know. Yeah, so this router is using WPA2, which is pretty common. It's fairly secure. The most recent one is WPA3, which is being uncrackable so far. So if you can, you should be able to update your Wi-Fi protocol to WPA3. I think my Wi-Fi is using WEP, which is like the first generation of Wi-Fi. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I think that's going to be like the main defense for Wi-Fi attacks, just having a secure password, using WPA3, um, potentially filtering MAC addresses. I'm not entirely sure how well that is as a defense, but you guys can look into it if you're serious about your Wi-Fi. I'm not, so. But yeah, that's basically the presentation. There really isn't much else to go over, unless anyone has any other questions.
Just find you be safe in like a Starbucks cafe.
Don't connect to the Wi-Fi. That's really all it is. Because, yes.
What about using like a VPN whenever you're like connecting?
Yeah, VPN could work because it will encrypt your traffic. That is an option as well. But yeah, free Wi-Fi is generally insecure. So if you're connecting to hotel Wi-Fi, airplane Wi-Fi, coffee shop Wi-Fi, don't go into any personal accounts. Don't go to your banking account. Don't do work stuff. Be smart. Just look at YouTube videos or something. Something that you don't care about getting hacked. I guess another defense would just be turning off auto roaming or just turning off your Wi-Fi in general. That would prevent just the second method of evil twin attack. Yeah. Wi-Fi kind of sucks. But if you're lazy, you can use it. Any other questions?
Question.
The free Wi-Fi? I haven't heard about that actually. That's pretty interesting, but kind of suspicious to be honest. I wouldn't connect to any of them. Just connect to access points or Wi-Fi that you know and like you trust. If you have a family Wi-Fi that has free Wi-Fi, probably safe. Unless someone is imitating it, then I mean, good luck. But yeah, just be safe out there. Use password or strong passwords. Try to upgrade your protocol to WPA3 if you can. And yeah, just use common sense.